It's time to jump off the pitch and jump on some lines. Welcome to the World Soccer Betting Show, presented by Picks and Parlays.
Franko and the Genius, World Soccer Betting Show. I'm Franko. That's the Genius. We're presented by Picks and Parlays, and this is Group H, the 8th and final group. Sean, who do we got?
We have Portugal, Ghana, Uruguay, and South Korea. So, once again, it's one of these groups where,
It's a wide open group.
Yeah, it's wide open, especially, it's just clearly Cristiano Ronaldo's last go here.
We think.
Yeah, man, he better get off.
He's on that Tom Brady plan.
Man, he better be going. His legs are gone. I wish he'd stay in Qatar after the match and just leave him there. We'll just sell you to somewhere. We'll sell you to somewhere over there. Don't worry coming back to Manchester. It's all right now.
All right, Portugal, FIFA ranked 9. It's the 8th appearance, 3rd in 1966. Of course, Portugal, the Euro winner in 2016, Nations League champs in 2019.
I was there.
Yeah, they're second in their Nations League group right now. 5-2-1 in 2022, and they qualified via the playoff. They beat Turkey and North Macedonia. Both those games were played in Porto, and of course, the great man Cristiano Ronaldo. Do you want to give him an ode here, Sean?
Yeah, look, I mean, I saw him score a hat trick, and I've seen him play so many times for Manchester United. I was at the Nations League final in Portugal in 2019. Saw him score a hat trick in the semifinals against Switzerland. Saw him, win the final, obviously against Netherlands. He's got 117 goals and 191 appearances. The crazy thing about this is he overshadows the talent on this team because this, make no mistake about it, this team is extremely talented all over the place. I mean, you look at the back lines here. Diogo Dalot has been unbelievable for Manchester United this year. He's finally got a chance to play, and he's probably played his way into this squad here. With maybe João Cancelo banged up. Ruben Diaz, Manchester City, has been really good. Nuno Mendes, he's 20 years old, PSG. The thing with this squad is, obviously Ronaldo again, but, look at these midfielders. Bruno Fernandes, Bernardo Silva, Matheus Nunes, 24. Vitinha, 22. Ruben Neves, 25. The forwards, Rafael Leao, who's playing for Milan.
I like him a lot.
Yeah, 23. Jota, who's been banged up, but, he's 25. João Felix, who's, really, really good and hopefully gets out of playing for terrible specialist Diego Simeone there because he's very good. Pedro. Now, they have talented players. The problem when you watch Manchester United play here, and sometimes with Portugal, is they try to shoehorn the ball to Ronaldo. And, I know the coach is probably going to put him in there, but this team is so talented, they might not need him. Maybe they use him off the bench. Maybe they kind of don't really need him here. They have so much talent, and they could definitely make a run in this tournament. But if they have to keep, I've watched it with United, if they keep trying to do this with Ronaldo, they're probably not going to win the tournament.
I will say this quickly. Fernando Santos has been the coach of Portugal since 2014.
Forever.
So, yeah, he's one of the longest-serving international coaches. Also, Cristiano Ronaldo, one last point on him, 191 caps and 117 goals. So he is the most cap player and the top goal scorer in terms of international numbers in the tournament.
This guy, it's hard to explain like how much. I mean, he's just so good for so long. I mean, he's just, you mentioned kind of Tom Brady. I mean, his peak from he won the Ballon d'Or with Manchester United in 23 when he was 22 years old in the Champions League. I mean, and then he just, from 2014 to 2018, 4 Champions Leagues with Real Madrid, Ballon d'Ors all over the place, just dominant player. Obviously, his legs have gone now. He's trying to figure out where he's going to play, but it could be, if they use him the right way in this tournament, they could win the tournament.
He still scares you when he stands over a free kick, whether he's made one in a
while
or not.
Every 9 out of 10 end up in row Z.
But that may be the case. But I'm telling you, every other team in this tournament does not want to see him standing over the ball 25 yards from goal.
And you got, the other thing, you got Ruben Neves who can hit a ball from, 40 yards out. Bruno Fernandes takes free kicks and penalties. Bernard, so this team is very, very talented. Like, to the point. They're not as talented as Brazil or France, but they're really, it's very close. Their starting 11 they could put out there is comparable to anybody's out here. I mean, it's just a matter of what they can do. And, I think they have a chance to do something.
And one thing that's important in this group is that you win the group, because if you're the runner-up, you get Brazil in the round of 16.
If you're a runner-up, you're out. So, you're not beating Brazil.
So let's take a look at Ghana. Ghana is ranked, the Black Stars are FIFA ranked 61. That's the lowest ranked team in the tournament. It's the 4th appearance. Ghana was a quarterfinalist in 2010. And in fact, you'll get to see a rematch of that infamous 2010 quarterfinal against Uruguay in this group. Remember the famous Luis Suarez handball and the missed penalty, and then it went to a shootout. Ghana is struggling a little bit. 2-6-5 in 2022. They beat Nigeria in the African playoff. It was 1-1 on aggregate. Ghana went through on the away goals rule on a goal from Thomas Partey of Arsenal in that playoff. So it's a team that's struggling a little bit coming into the tournament.
Yeah, and once again, I mean, they do have some talent here. Players playing for, obviously, you said Partey. Andre Ayew plays for Al Sadd now, but played in the Premier League. Jordan Ayew, obviously. Inaki Williams, who plays for Bilbao. They have some Daniel Afri, who plays for Hearts of Oak in Ghana. Wow, I might have to get a kit there. Kudus is pretty good. He plays for Ajax. There's definitely some talent here in this squad. Tariq Lamptey plays, obviously, for Brighton and Hove Albion.
They actually went and picked up a few guys, Lamptey being one of them. Inaki Williams, was born in Spain, switched, filed the one-time switch to Ghana. So they picked up a couple talented players in the lead-up to the World Cup.
Yeah, they're not, Mohamed Salisu. This team who plays for Southampton, who's been really good for Southampton, by the way. That's a name to watch. Abdul Rahman Baba, who was at Chelsea. Daniel Marti. There's some talent here. Whether or not they're going to be able to win a game or get out of this group is going to be something different. But there is some talent here.
Uruguay, FIFA ranked 14. It's the 14th appearance for the South Americans. 2-time winners in the first World Cup, 1930, and then again in 1950. Quarterfinalists 4 years ago in Russia in 2018, and 4th in the 2010 World Cup. Uruguay is a 15-time Copa America champion, although the last one was in 2011.
They beat Paraguay in that
and,
one, I think.
Finished 3rd in the South American qualifying on 28 points, 8 wins, 6 losses, 4 draws. And actually, though, they won the last 4 qualifiers to secure their spot at the World Cup. And, of course, Luis Suarez, he's playing back home in Uruguay now, but had so many great years in Europe with Liverpool, 134 caps, 68 goals.
Yeah, this is a team that, you looked and they were pretty old. They were old and, did make the semifinals in 2010. But now you start to look and you got some players coming through. They're starting to, rebuild this squad. A lot of younger players, led by Federico Valverde, who's been unbelievable this year so far with Real Madrid. Rodrigo Bentancur, who plays for Tottenham. There's a lot of talented players in their early to mid 20s that are going to get a chance to play here. Obviously, Suarez and Edison Cavani, hugely capped.
Both 35 years old.
Godin, Muslera. There's players on this squad with 130, 140 caps. Whether or not they are going to be the ones, because obviously now you got Darwin Nunez, who plays for Liverpool and stinking up the joint, and Palestri, who plays for Manchester United, can't get on the pitch. But there are some players here. Jonathan Rodriguez plays for Club America. There's some decent players and there's some decent talent. So whether or not these players get in the squad at all times, or I don't know if you're starting Suarez and Cavani up top together, But
I wouldn't.
no,
Not at both being 35 years old.
Here's the thing. I mean, when you look at these squads, if you're going to play these players, Godin and Martin Caceres and Sebastian Coates and the 35-year-old players, which I think you can play one or two, Damian Suarez, you can play a couple of them or one of them. But if you're playing all of them, I just don't see how they're going to do much at this tournament. But, we'll see. I forgot Araujo from Barcelona, the defender. They have talent. This team is talented. Matias Oliveira, who's playing for Napoli, who might be one of the top 5 teams in the world right now. There's talent, and they could make a run. However, if they choose to go with the old guard, I think you got to back away a little bit.
I agree. I think let the young kids cook, right? As they say.
Yeah, it's the same thing. We talk about this, and we'll talk about this, tomorrow if you're tuned in for our look at CONCACAF. USA, they had this. It's this thing where they got these old guard players, and they got players coming through, and the longer you play the older guard, the less chance you have. The new people don't get a chance to play as much, and maybe you get beat sometimes, but they're always in this cycle where you're like, we can't afford.
Yeah,
to
I almost think you're better bringing a guy like Suarez or Cavani off the bench.
Yeah, Cavani 100%. He was good when he came off the bench for United, but he's always hurt. But whether that's the other thing, are these players going to stay healthy for a month? But they're in the squad right now, 5 of the most capped players ever, 159, 134, 133, 133. It's a lot. Are they going to keep trying to rely on those players?
And the final team in Group H, South Korea, FIFA ranked 28. It's the 10th appearance, 4th on home soil in 2002. 10-3-2 in 2022. They finished second in the qualifying group behind Iran. They went 7-1-2 in that Asian zone. Look, of course, the big news was South Korea. Heung-min Son suffered a facial fracture in the Champions League game for Spurs against Marseille. And, if he's not back, he's their talisman. He's their superstar. I mean, he is a superstar player. Yep. Who can change the game, obviously, and if he's not back, it's going to be tough for South Korea.
Yeah, and once again, you see, a lot of their players are playing at home. They do have some players playing around Olympiacos and Hertha. Son is by far the talisman, 35 goals. If he's not able to play, I think they're going to struggle big time. They have some players once again in some positions, but when you look overall at the squad, I think it's going to be tough to see, is this team going to be able to get enough points to get out of this group?
Who's on upset alert?
Let's see. We will go to... I don't think Uruguay, South Korea is really too much of an upset. Let me see what that line is.
What's the Uruguay Portugal line? On match day 2.
Portugal plus 104, Uruguay plus 275. I think I'm going to go Ghana, Uruguay. I think Ghana has enough talent to... I don't think Ghana can beat Portugal. Portugal's too good.
I'm going to go Uruguay over Portugal.
On this match day 2.
On match day 2.
That's not bad. I think they probably could. I mean, once again, that could be the battle of old guard players. Are the old guard players going to have it, or are they going to let these teams play with the young kids? Is Portugal good enough? Is Portugal good enough to go through and win 9 points in this group? Are they? They're not Brazil.
They're not Brazil, but I don't think it's a particularly difficult group outside the Uruguay game. I think Uruguay could potentially take something off Portugal. But
I think 7 points will win it. But
I don't think Ghana and South Korea are particularly strong. Particularly if Son is not going to be able to play for South Korea. Now we don't know that he's going to probably go. It's probably going to go right up to the tournament whether he can make it back or not.
Yeah, and I think if you have that. If Son's not playing,
could you imagine just Son in a face mask, scoring goals in this group? He'd be like a superhero.
Yeah, it's. I think he's gonna probably.
He's going to try and make it back to play.
Yeah, but you just don't. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I think trying to pull these up here, Group H. Trying to pull this up and see where we could go here with Group H. I think, team to finish last, South Korea would be pretty interesting here. I think if he doesn't play, if Son doesn't play or if Son isn't 100%, I think that team is not very good.
Yeah, I like, if you want to know who's moving on, I still think Portugal is the best team in the group. And I think it's so important because that Brazil is sitting out there if you finish as the runner-up. And look, would a Portugal-Brazil knockout round of 16 game be mighty spicy?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Could you imagine Brazil against Cristiano Ronaldo in the World Cup?
Yeah, we'd have to find tomorrow and have them translate for us. They're both the Portuguese-speaking country. Portugal wins the group, I think,
and stays away from Brazil. You think Portugal gets it done?
Yeah,
or that Uruguay
so.
catches them in that second game, and it's Uruguay 1, Portugal 2, and then you get Brazil-Portugal in the round of 16.
I just think Portugal's too talented to win. I think maybe that could be a draw. But I also think Uruguay. I think Uruguay could if Uruguay beats South Korea and draws with Portugal, I think maybe they could draw that last game against Ghana. Ghana maybe would be in it. I think Uruguay. I don't think Uruguay's good enough to win get 7 points or 9 points.
I think Uruguay's good enough to beat Ghana and South Korea, and then if you tie 7, and then you kind of look at comes down to goal differential.
Which was the other group we were talking about that was like that? Spain and Germany, I think.
Where I think you have 2 clear favorites, and then 2 other teams in the group, and you don't want to drop points against the other 2 teams.
This Uruguay team, once again, if they play like Valverde, obviously Valverde's going to play as a superstar, but if they play, if everybody's healthy, Ronald Araujo, if they play these young kids that are good, Bentancur, Valverde, Lucas Torreira, if they play that squad, that they easily could, match up and finish. And I think they'll finish Mateus Vinha. They'll finish second, 100%. It's just I'm not sure they're gonna do that. I still think this coach could say, I'm gonna try to go with the old guard to get us through and see what we can do. And if they do that, I'm a little bit less. I think Ghana could get them. I don't think Ghana will. I just think if they do that, Ghana could.
I think that is a fascinating game again because it's the rematch of that epic quarterfinal game infamous. I guess I would say it was infamous. Quarterfinal game in 2010. Ghana trying to be the first African side to make a semifinal that year, and
you got to make the penalty.
Suarez handball.
You got to make the penalty. But I'll tell you what: if Ghana happens to beat Korea in match day 2 and goes into that game with Uruguay with a chance to go through, that game is going to be chaos. That game is going to be one to watch. That's going to be December 2nd. That's going to be the 10 o'clock game. That is going to be the game to watch. I'm telling you, Ghana will be in it to win it.
I'm still taking Portugal 1 and Uruguay 2nd in the group.
I think Portugal finishes first and Uruguay 2nd as well. I just, if Ghana, just watch, Ghana could do something against Uruguay. There's, when you start talking about stuff like that, like emotional stuff, and these players are humans, so sometimes the emotional stuff gets in the way of stuff, and it could, they could be a red card. I mean, you could get anything in that game.
And does anybody from this group have a chance to win the World Cup?
Portugal has a chance to win the World Cup. They won't win the World Cup. But they do have a chance if they move away from Ronaldo. It's a big if. I don't think they will.
Franko and the Genius World Soccer Betting Show. Again, we're presented by Picks and Parlays, and that's a wrap.
We're like 3 days away now.
Well, that's a wrap on the groups.
You're watching, you're watching this on Thursday here, or maybe you're watching it closer, but released on Thursday here. the games are kicking off on Sunday, so a couple days. Tomorrow we're going to talk about the CONCACAF and just kind of, get a little bit of a mixer on see who can come through maybe and all this stuff. And then, of course, Saturday we'll go through and pick the Golden Boot and some of the awards and maybe pick the whole bracket. We'll see. But remember, we're going to have that show on December 3rd as well. So we got one more for you after all these drop. But just stay tuned and subscribe, ring the bell so these come right to you when they come out.
Thanks for watching the World Soccer Betting Show. Like and subscribe if you're new, and make sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms. Missed an episode? Our podcast is available on YouTube, Spotify, Google Cast, Apple, and more. The World Soccer Betting Show is presented by Picks Parlays.